Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about the substance. We like to be women of substance on this channel, and it's by no surprise that I'm going to talk about The Substance, the movie, and that is also the last bad pun I make for the duration of this video. My initial reaction to this movie was that, I liked it. It was fun. I told all my friends to see it. I was like happy, and then I took a second to think about what I saw, and some of my friends got back to me and said, are you the movie's pretty polarizing. I really think I'll enjoy it. And it took me a second to think, wait, why are people getting irritated? Why, what are people saying about this film? Because I feel like, besides misogynistic talking points, I feel like it was a pretty straightforward, not necessarily feel good, but definitely pretty fun movie. And after watching the film twice and, kind of evaluating my own thoughts, I haven't looked too deeply into the controversies because I wanted to form my own opinion as I was putting out this video. So my take would be that it is fun and it is campy, and it is most certainly not the feminist film of 2024. I mean, I can't really think of a feminist film that we had in 2024 that was, worth it. So the closest thing I can think of was probably Poor Things, and that was in 2023. But in any case, this film that doesn't really negate the fact that this film is fun and that this film is, different. I do understand, though, where a lot of the criticism is coming from, and I believe it generally stems from women of color's fatigue with white feminism, which is basically when women of color are irritated at white women for finally being upset at something we've said so many times in so many different ways for so many different years. I mean, film's point is, doesn't it suck that women are kind of at the behest of the men in their lives, especially and particularly when they choose to be in the entertainment or, attraction industry? Doesn't it suck how, men can go on to have really long, illustrious careers, and a woman's is supposed to stop when she's 30, 50, 40 years old, whatever the age people say. And I mean, obviously, again, as a woman of color, we kind of have been saying that, yes, doesn't it suck that we get further ahead and we're put in closer positions of power when we conform to Eurocentric beauty standards? Doesn't it suck that having a white man's cosign kind of makes you more credible in certain spheres? I mean, we've been saying this for so long, and it seems especially to our contemporaries, they really didn't mind being property as long as they were hot property. Or in Anne Hathaway's words, she didn't really mind the ageism in Hollywood until she began to affect her. And hey, we love self-awareness, we love personal growth, but I'm just kind of pointing out where I think a lot of the criticism and general fatigue with movies like this and stories like this come from, which is, girl, we've been saying this, But at the same time, I also want to say that a film can't be everything. And it's good to keep in mind your position when you are making a critique or when you are observing someone else's art. And of course, I'm not saying give everyone grace and let everyone catch up to where you've already been thinking. No, because again, that's where the fatigue comes from. You get tired waiting for everyone to catch up with you. What I am saying is, a lot of people in this country, in the United States, even women tend to vote conservatively. They actively vote and act against their own best interest. A lot of women, we're complaining, at least on my section of the internet, that the Barbie movie didn't really go far enough or fast enough. And it's look, maybe this is first wave feminism, but it seems very obvious that first wave feminism is what the U.S. needs. We've been a country for how many years and we still haven't had a female president? Where do you think other people are in their journey? So I do think that, us, or not us, but yes, us creators, us critics, us editors at Slate and Vulture and Variety, it's not everyone has the same perspective as you. And I don't know, it's just good to keep in mind something that my professor told me years ago when I was in grad school, which is, we want stories to be everything. We want them to like check off every box in order for them to be like worthy of being made or being told. And what I think The Substance really excels in is just being a good, fun movie. And it's a good, fun movie with like a general message that's digestible that I think everyone can kind of get on with, or that can like really tolerate and maybe agree with and accept. Yes, could there be more depth? Yes, there could be more world building. But, you know, a movie doesn't have to be everything. And just because it's not everything does not make it a bad film, quote unquote. Okay, so what were some pros of this film? I think the acting was great. Demi Moore does her thing. Margaret Qualley does her thing. I'm actually really impressed with the films Margaret Qualley chooses to take on. Like, she was in Poor Things, she was in Maid, she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think she has a good head on her shoulders when it comes to picking roles that are slightly subversive or that really push her in different areas. So, you know, you can really see her range as an actress. And of course, Demi Moore, it seems like the role was like made for her, you know, being formerly one of the highest paid actresses of all time, to being, you know, now a meme or a bit of tabloid fodder when her plastic surgery doesn't go as well as she hoped. I think she's really great for this role, and she does like a great job in it. And if you are a gore fan, this is a treat for you, because it is just gory enough to be disgusting and painful and make you flinch at the screen, but it's not gory to the point where like you'll remember it or where it will stay with you. It's not so gory that it's unbelievable. It's not so gory that it's honestly vulgar or excessive. It's just the right amount of gore. It is chef's kiss amount of gore. And also the story was pretty cool. Yes, it's kind of like a twist or retelling of certain tropes, like the evil clone, the evil twin, experiment gone haywire, etc. But I like this, you know, feminist lens on it. I like this, of course, subtle, I'd say very subtle, blurring of like who's the real villain here. I like that we kind of see Elizabeth, which is Demi Moore's character, as incredibly vain and narcissistic to the point of, you know, having a giant photo of herself in her apartment. You know, that was great. Now, cons of this film. The camera work, while at first was fun and different, on second watch just seemed kind of boring. And I don't mean that in a really cruel way. I just mean this movie, a lot of it is about shock value. And once that shock wears off, you're kind of left with the substance. And is there that much substance in this movie? Not really. I mean, again, it's fun to rewatch. The gore is very flinching, but the story is a bit light. There is not as much world building. There's really not a lot of dialogue at all. And something that's kind of not really talked about is how completely arbitrary these labels and these like expiration dates we give women are. Like, both Margaret Qualley and Demi Moore are older than their title characters. Now, Demi Moore is like 61. She's playing a 50-year-old. Margaret Qualley is almost 30, and she's playing like someone in her early 20s or maybe 18 or so. It would be interesting to talk about how expiration dates aren't real and how truly misogynistic they are. But it doesn't really, it kind of scratches the surface of that rationalization. It doesn't really go too deeply in depth. It also doesn't really examine maybe how some of us are victims or perpetuators of our own demise. I mean, it doesn't. Like, basically, it could have gone a little bit deeper in that, like, Elizabeth's agency as a human could have been shown a little more. Her emptiness, her how spending her entire life like fighting and striving for this one thing has really gotten her to a life that is very pretty, but ultimately incredibly empty as well. Lack of relationships and a lack of bonds and a lack of community and identity outside of being this beautiful creator, not even really an artist, but just like this beautiful product, this beautiful property, how that can really damage your sense of self-worth when, you know, the property starts to erode and you find there's not much left. Anywho, who should see this film? I think if you are a fan of the gore, if you are a girly pop, if you are a young thing, if you are maybe in a group, maybe a group of everyone, like giant groups of girly pops who are fans of gore. Maybe you guys should see this film. I think if you're a squeamish person, this definitely is not for you. I think if you are so far ahead on your revolutionary journey and you want this film to be and you want to see something that is serious and hard-hitting, this is not the film for you. Again, in my opinion, this is not the feminist film of 2024. It just isn't. We should just let things be fun sometimes, and ultimately this is a very fun movie. Also, if you are a misogynist, you should not watch this movie because it is not very kind to the men in it. I mean, as it shouldn't be. The thing is, the men are barely there, but I do know for some men that is a little hard to take. So if that would bother you, you probably shouldn't see this. Anyway, that is my review. Please let me know if you saw The Substance, what you thought of it, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.